Hi, this is Derek Murphy from creativindie.com. I'm making this video to tell you, if you're a writer, not to give up too soon or too quickly. And this has been coming up pretty frequently in a Facebook group that I'm in and some other online forums. The idea is that, especially in Facebook groups, when everybody's sharing how great they're doing or how much money they're making on Kindle, it can get really frustrating if you're starting out, or even if you're not starting out and you've been doing this 5 years and you're not making any money. It can get very frustrating and feel like nothing you're doing is working. Maybe it's just time to throw in the towel and give up. I hear that frustration. People are kind of whining. Sometimes they get the impression that it's all just a crapshoot. It's all just luck, or nobody understands how Amazon really works, or some people are lucky and some people aren't. So they feel like they're doing everything right and they're putting all this time and effort into it, and they're just not seeing any results. That's a pretty common frustration. I've said before, it's something like 99% of published authors won't make any money with their fiction. It doesn't, fiction or nonfiction. It doesn't matter if you're self-publishing or publishing. If you're traditionally published, you'll get a little bit of money, but you won't be able to make a living off your books. In most cases, maybe 90% of traditionally published authors are not making a living with their books. They get a bonus, which might be an extra $10,000 a year or something, but it's not actually enough to live on. Self-publishing authors can make more money, and that's also because they can publish a lot faster and put more books out there. But the problem is it's difficult to learn how to do everything right if you're self-publishing. There's so many things to learn: the website and the email list, the autoresponder series, advertising, cover design, formatting, editing. There's a lot of expensive pieces to this jigsaw puzzle, and it's moving all the time. So what was working on Amazon 2 or 3 months ago may not be working anymore. I understand how it can get very frustrating. Something I pointed out recently in a blog post, I was responding to someone on Facebook who was bringing up some of these issues. I've been doing this for 10 years at least. I started self-publishing. I'm old now. I'm 37 now. I was probably like 22 when I first published my book. So maybe 15 years I've been playing with the self-publishing game. I now have 19 books out on Amazon. Most of them don't make any money. Most of them, they were kind of a test, or some of them were like my big, the thing I spent years on. Some of them were master's and my PhD thesis. Putting out a big book or putting out lots of books doesn't necessarily mean you'll make any money. The main factor in the success of any author's book is how many people in the world are interested in the type of book that you've written, and then whether or not you can put it in front of them, and then whether or not you can convince them that it's the type of book that they want to read. So that's really what it comes down to. When people aren't making any money with their books, generally it's because they're writing the wrong kind of books. They're writing books that aren't going to make any money because they've decided they don't want to consider the market. They want to just focus on writing the books they want, and then they're kind of whining about, I see this a lot, especially in more literary circles. They complain that the common reader doesn't value literature. They don't appreciate good literature. They just want kind of crap. And so some authors continue to write the books that they want to write because they think it's better quality literature. So they think they're doing the world a service by putting out these kind of books, even though nobody wants those books and is willing to pay for those books. I don't think you deserve to get paid for something that nobody wants. It doesn't provide any value to anybody. So I'm all for writing to market, but I come to this position because I've been doing this, like I said, for 15 years. So I didn't believe this way previously. A big part of my brand, Creativindie, is that I used to be a starving artist. I used to focus on getting gallery shows and writing the kind of books I wanted to write and doing what I believed was the art and then trying to put it out into the world. That's a lot of work and a lot of effort, a lot of pain and frustration. Once you have the skills to make things, you can use those same skills to try to make things that more people are going to want. I don't think that's selling out. I don't think it's even a different kind of creativity. I'm writing books now that I know are going to sell a lot better than the books I was writing before. It's not easier or it's not, I want to say it's not easier or harder, but the issue is a lot of authors will say, if I'm not writing those books that I feel passionate about, then it's no fun and I may as well just get a real job. My answer to that is writing is a great way to make a living. I don't have to work every day. Some days I feel like writing, I work on my books, I try to put out as many as I can. I have to stay motivated, but it's a great way to earn a living, and I don't have to, go into work or get up in the morning or have a boss or anything. So comparing writing to not writing and getting a real job, I think there's a huge difference. Not everybody's cut out to work from home. Maybe that's not really what you want to do. A lot of writers have a full-time job and they write on the side, which is also part of the frustration. If you're just writing a little bit on the side and you also have a real job, of course it's going to take you a lot longer to put out the books and to see results. But my main point in this video is just a lot of writers, they do it for about 5 years, or they do it for 1 or 2 years, and then they get really frustrated that it's not working. This one who I was talking with has been doing it for about 5 years, and now they're considering throwing in the towel because they're like, if I've been doing this for 5 years, I really think I'm doing everything right, but it's not working. Number one, authors are never doing everything right. There's always big room for improvement. Even the people who are making money could be making a lot more money if they changed a few simple tricks or tweaks. Generally, the stuff that I talk about is not what authors consider to be book marketing, so they don't always hear my advice, even though it'd be simple to fix some things and see more sales. It's not what they're looking for, so they don't notice or they don't appreciate what I'm offering, which is fine. But generally, when you get to that point in your author career where you've been doing it for however long and it's not working for you and you're getting frustrated, that's almost always a sign that you're doing the wrong things, or you're doing things wrong. You can keep writing what you're writing, and you can fix your platform or your book covers or your blurbs. You can try to get more reviews. That's all important stuff. And you're probably not doing all of that right anyway. You could probably be doing all of that stuff a lot better and see more results. However, none of that stuff is really going to matter as much as writing books that more people want to read. And so what I would really suggest is, if you're not seeing the results, you need to be more flexible and to pivot and say, okay, I've tried to do it my way and it's not working. Now I'm going to try to do it in a way where, rather than write the books that I think are good, I'm going to discover what readers actually want from books and what they're buying, because that is a proven market. Like, that those kind of books sell. It doesn't have to be a totally different thing. If you hate vampire romances or whatever, you don't have to write those. But you do have to consider the market and see what's selling, at least a little bit. And then, like, for example, I wrote a mermaid book. I also wrote some dark fantasy Greek and Roman books, and those are good. I like those. I had fun writing them. But if I want to make more money and see more sales, I could write a vampire witch werewolf book, because those tend to sell a lot better. That more people are searching for those books. So I looked it up recently. People are searching for vampires about 10 times as often as they're searching for angel books or mermaid books or any other paranormal romance. You need to know what people are searching for. You need to have some kind of a content with those keywords that shows up. It doesn't have to be a stereotypical vampire book, although I would urge you not to try to hit a market but then not do what the market expects, or try to throw something completely different out there that doesn't fit the genre, because readers will discover it but they won't like it necessarily. So it's always a risk. I mean, I know not everybody agrees with me, and I think the issue of writing to market can be controversial because some people don't think it's real art or real literature or whatever. For me, I love writing. I love English. I love words. I'm happy to spend all day trying to wrestle with a story and get the best possible story out there. But I also want people to read it, and I want them to enjoy it, and I want to make a living with it, which means I need to provide a really good reading experience of the type of quality and in the genre that certain readers are expecting and that they want. So I'm deliberately crafting a product. It's not a shitty product. I'm not trying to write shitty books just to hit a market, but I am trying to craft a very good product that's better than anything else out there for popular genres that have lots of readers who are hungry to pay for books, because I would like to be making a living with writing. And this is the beginning of 2017. last year I published fiction for the first time, and now I'm starting to make a living with my writing. So this month I'm making about $3,000 a month, and I only have a couple of books out that are paid. But by the end of this year, I should have 10 novels out, which is more my conservative goal. So if I can get to that number, ideally I'd be making 30,000 a month, but actually I'd be happy making 5 to 10,000 a month, because that's still enough to live on. It means I can write full time. I can keep putting out more books. I'm able to make money with my writing because I built an author platform and because I know what I'm doing, but also because I'm writing to market, so I know that they will be successful. Also because I'm a cover designer and I can do formatting and editing. It allows me to, because I've learned these skills, it allows me to publish quickly and without paying other people to help me, which is great because a lot of authors need to spend $3,000 just to publish their book. So of course it takes a long time to earn that money back. But on the other hand, my main point is that I didn't just get lucky. I've been doing this for 15 years, and now I have the skills and the knowledge to do it very well and to do it very quickly. So when you're only 5 years in, they say it takes like 1,000,000 words to learn how to write well, or good quality. So that's like 10 novels about, but it's similar. There's the 10,000 hour rule, which is a pretty similar thing. And it just means if you've only published a few books and you've only just started your website, I mean, if everything feels frustrating and new for you, then you're not an expert in those areas yet. And if you're not an expert at something, you can't expect to make a lot of money or be very successful at something. It's the same as if you were practicing a sport. Yes, there's a lot of competition. You have to get better. You have to train really hard. 5 or 10 years. I have a friend who has been working on a novel for a long time, and it's not going the way that she wants, and she really wants to. She doesn't want to give it up. She doesn't want to feel like she's failed writing that novel. On the other hand, maybe she's learned everything she has to learn from that novel, and now she knows that she wants to write something better or more meaningful. Maybe that novel doesn't have the same kind of emotional impact that she thought it did, and now she wants to make something that has a broader impact to more people. It's fine to pivot and to give up something you've been working on for a long time. It's probably even a good idea. If it's not going very well for you, if you're not excited about it anymore, I don't believe you should only follow your passion, but I do think, of course, it's much easier to stay motivated if you're passionate about something. But I think you also really need to consider your readership and your market, and know that writing or making a living at writing, it's a team endeavor. It's not just about you and writing your books. It's about the relationship you build with your readers and the kind of reading experience that they have from your books. That's really what you need to be focused on. So I don't think you need to compromise halfway between like writing for your readers and writing for yourself. Personally, the idea of me sitting alone writing stories for myself that other people don't enjoy, I don't think that's a good use of my time. Maybe I did when I was younger, but now if I'm going to spend a lot of time working on something, I want it to be something a lot of people enjoy, and hopefully something that will earn money. Like if I spend months writing a book, I would like it to earn some income, forever, or at least for a few years, so that I would earn back the investment that I put into it. Anyway, my main point, I keep saying my main point, I think maybe I'm repeating myself. The main idea of this video is that if you think like life's not fair or things aren't going as well as you expected them to, just keep in mind you are building a skill set through publishing, and it's a very valuable skill set. Writing can be a very lucrative profession, but it is very competitive, and there are a lot of moving parts, and there are a lot of people who are getting really good at this stuff. So you're competing with people who are basically experts, but they might have been doing this for 10 years or 15 like me. So if you're comparing yourself now with like you at 5 years and me at 15 years, of course I'm doing better. It's not magic that I can put out a novel and start earning money right away. I can do it because I've spent 15 years learning how to do it and experimenting and practicing. So don't feel bad if what you're working on, or if your first book isn't very successful, or if your first 10 books aren't very successful. don't give up, because if you want to be a writer, that's fine. You can totally make a living as a writer, as long as you're willing to pivot and consider writing books that have a broader potential, which just means that more people are interested in actually reading. If you're unwilling to do that and you want to just keep writing the books that you want to write, that's probably going to be a problem. If you're not willing to pivot and consider your readers, it's going to be very difficult for you to make a living. You might, I mean, it might just happen, it might be luck, but generally that's what you're counting on. You're writing something that you don't know whether it will ever be successful, and you're hoping that maybe someone accidentally likes it, somebody accidentally, gets inspired by it or picks it up and decides to support you. That's very, very rare. And if you're doing it that way, you really are kind of rolling the dice. And in that case, if a lot of authors are just doing it that way, it is a crapshoot, because you don't know what's going to be successful or not. But there are other authors like me and a lot of my friends who are deliberately trying to write books that earn money so that we can spend more time writing books. It doesn't mean we're writing crap. It doesn't mean we're writing cheap popular fiction, pulp fiction books. I think generally we do focus on providing a good reading experience, and we are focused on the entertainment value. So we want people, for example, we want people to keep reading. So in the first chapter, we hook and we keep them reading, and if they, like for a lot of authors, if they're writing for themselves, if they're not plotting well, they're not writing story architecture well, the big problem a lot of authors will face is that even if they have a very creative book or they think the writing is really well done, if people don't get into it and they give up after the first chapter or two, of course that's going to kill your earning potential as an author. But you need to write books that hold people's attention, because you don't deserve to earn a living from your writing unless you can captivate readers and provide them with a positive reading experience that they enjoy. Anyway, I'm going to stop this video here. I don't know if it's been helpful, but I hope it has been. Thanks.